Welcome to Caleb Can't Read. I'm Jordan Rabel.
I'm Caleb Terrence.
This finicky little bitch.
I don't know.
Let's see if it... Is it recording?
This is try number 4. Yeah, no, we're recording.
We can't get past the
Jesus.
motherfucking intro.
Oh my god. Once again, PodTrack P4. If anybody out there can make another recommendation and maybe message us or something, that'd be sick, because I'm really fingers crossed here as to whether or not we're going to lose this entire
I'm gonna...
fucking thing.
Man, you don't know how many days of work I waste researching, man. This is... I mean, I'm not losing any money doing it, but I'll tell you. Still mad.
You're going to lose some fucking money if the people who employ you listen to that. Perhaps. What do you mean, What do you mean, That's dumb. You shouldn't share that information. You should not do that as an adult man with responsibilities.
I'm barely responsible. It doesn't matter. Hey,
Proceed.
you know what? Let's just fucking cross our fingers, fucking put the 4-leaf clover in our pocket and fucking trudge on and see if it doesn't crap out halfway through.
Yeah,
How about that?
Let's go. Yeah.
Well then, let's get started, shall we?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. All right. Sometime between 750 to 700 BC, a pregnant woman named Crithis gave birth at the banks of the Melis River in Greece. The father of her child was supposedly unknown to her, so seeing the river as the only true father of her child, she named her son Melesigenes. For employment, Crithis became a housekeeper for a schoolmaster named Phemius. Specifically, he taught literature and music. Phemius saw Melesigenes as his own son and made him his protege. Melesigenes grew up a master of poetry and high learning, and when Phemius died, Crithis soon followed, leaving Melesigenes alone with his inheritance. He visited the gravesite of the great warrior Achilles, and while there, had a vision of his sword shining brightly in the sun, and it struck him blind. Since then, Melesigenes was known as the blind poet, able to recite great works from memory.
Oh, so all we know about how he became blind is
He had a vision. Yeah.
it's a pretty sick story in place of, like, you know.
Of what?
I don't know. I just woke up one day and I couldn't fucking see anything.
You daydreamed so hard that you went blind?
No!
Okay, yeah, we all saw you shaving your palms the other day, Melesigenes. Okay, we know the real reason. You don't need to pretend with us. I swear it was a vision. No, you just quit playing with yourself, all right?
That's letting someone know, like, hey, I'm blind. Also, fucking insane. Like,
I mean, it's not
double
like they were going to
threat.
fuck with you before, but to now, just like,
Who fucks
he's
with-
crazy and blind?
who fucks with blind people? No one fucks with blind people.
All I'm saying is they're not looking for the kick me sign on their back. Anyway. So since then, Melesigenes was known as the blind poet, able to recite great works from memory, and he changed his name to Blind Man. Or, as it's translated into simple Greek, Homer.
Oh, we're doing that.
Yeah,
Oh,
you might
okay.
as well start from the beginning. Why not?
Okay.
Or he was named after Homeriontes, which in the Ionian dialect means assistance. If I'm butchering that for anybody out there who's
They did not name him
Ionian,
Cripple. They did not name him Cripple. No, okay. No way. Did they do that?
I cripple. That honestly, that sounds
What
like
up,
it
Wheels?
could be.
Like,
That
no,
sounds like
dude.
it could have been a possibility.
I don't. No way. They weren't that mean.
Well, supposedly assistance because he needed help walking around since he was blind. I don't know. Maybe next time call a blind person you know after their dog's name, like hey, Peanut Butter. Like, just seems like a real dick move.
Wait, what was this? What was the Greek name for assistance again? Or word for assistance?
Homeriontes.
Homeriontes.
Yeah.
All right. Yeah, that's way too.
If I remember my Ionian classes well enough.
Your
that's,
Ionian classes.
Uh-huh,
That's what
mhm.
they were called, huh?
Yeah.
You just don't want me to make fun of you for not knowing why I was laughing about you taking a Greek class anymore. You didn't want to return to that little
I never
bit
took
there.
a Greek class. I was just in it for the sandals.
Oh,
Yeah.
oh,
In bath time. Or he was named Homer because he had to flee from war and chose to follow his people to safety, which in Greek would be called Homorean. I'm fucking basically, we just don't know. But either way, these are the traditional facts that people go by. His mom's name was Crithis. He was born on the banks of the Melis River. His original name was Melesigenes, and the motherfucker was blind. That's all we got. Shit, even the river may not actually exist, but we're not going to get into that right now.
Okay.
Now, Herodotus, famous historian of the Greco-Persian Wars, estimates that Homer was born some 400 years before him, placing the date somewhere closer to 800 BC. According to Herodotus, he got this answer when he asked an oracle, and that's what the oracle said.
Okay.
That's scientific theory.
I mean, what else?
Why not?
What are you gonna go off of then? Like, what the fuck? Like,
Calendar? I don't know.
do you have another suggestion? Oracle. Yeah.
Whichever sound my fought made that sounded the closest. Now, unfortunately, Herodotus was deemed, in the words of Durius
3
himself,
echoes yes, 4 echoes no.
just farting in the direction of a cave. Unfortunately, Herodotus was deemed, in the words of Durius, himself a famous Greek historian, quote, a mythmonger. As it's quite the diss for back then. And frankly, he wasn't...
They might have just named him Cripple, so...
a mythmonger. That's not... It's Jerry.
It's Cripple, excuse you.
But frankly, he wasn't the only contemporary to say Herodotus was full of shit either. But this is really the only written date that we can go off of. And because of that, it's the date that's usually accepted. Could be completely off. And honestly, Grecian poets are known bullshitters. And that's going to be a constant theme to this story. The source for all of this is The Life of Homer by Herodotus himself, and it's the first biography on Homer. And this is how the fucking book opens. Quote, Herodotus of Halicarnassus wrote the following history of Homer's background, upbringing, and life, and sought to make his account complete and absolutely reliable. End quote. Honestly, Homer gets treated like the ancient version of Forrest Gump in this book. Just there he was, responsible for anything and everything. And although in the present day Homer's only known for 2 stories, the Iliad and the Odyssey, back in the day, there were other ancient writers who wanted their stories known, whether they were attached to the success of the stories or not. So what they would say is, hey, I found this long-lost story by none other than Homer himself. And it wouldn't take long before people would be like, nah, I heard fucking Paul wrote that.
But it was just all compiled and...
It was, I mean, it's just their own shit, and they're just, like, equating it to Homer. There's no reason to.
But they didn't really give a shit.
In all actuality, The Life of Homer was probably written long after Herodotus was actually dead as well. So not even that is written by Herodotus. So it's somebody bullshitting about
these
Homer.
Fucking names that makes it so goddamn hard to remember any of it. Like,
just remember Homer, you'll be fine.
God, you say that shit and it just like shuts down like a part of my brain protectively. Like, I don't know. Like Herodotus, okay, I don't remember any of the other
He's gone from the story. Don't worry about it.
Give me 10 seconds and it'll be gone.
Paul.
Is that one? Is that Greek? I don't know. Like,
in 1488, a scholar named Demetrios Chalcondyles. Fuck. Demetrios.
Demetrius?
Demetrios.
Demetrius.
Demetrios. It's not a U, it's an O.
Yeah, my bad. Wouldn't want to offend a dead guy. Let's go.
Took all of the tales attributed to Homer and narrowed what was rumored to have been his entire bibliography to just 2 works. All of these stories attributed to him had been disputed for millennia, but in the end, the Iliad and the Odyssey that were the 2 stories that no one knew the origins of. So therefore, no one could dispute them. So Demetrios began his work on editing both stories into modern Greek, each translation we have today stemming from this one guy's work. So basically, those, out of all the things, all the dozens of works that everyone said was Homer, there were rumors of who they belonged to and whatnot. So this guy just cut out everything that had a backstory and said, look, these are the 2 works that nobody knows where they came from. That must be Homer. That's what the 2 stories we have today.
Yeah, whatever gets it, preserved. At that
pretty
point,
much,
right?
yeah.
Like,
now, supposedly there's something called the Trojan Cycle, which is the rumor that was being passed in ancient documents claiming that the Iliad and the Odyssey were only 2 stories in an 8-part series. But it's hard to say just how important these stories really were. We don't know anything about them. Could it be that some of the old works that Demetrios threw out that were obvious bullshit were a part of this series? Don't know. But also consider how these stories have been edited over thousands of years. Could it be that there were 8 stories originally that got compressed to just 2 over the centuries to cut out the worst bits? Yes, though we'll never truly know for sure. If only we could jump back in time to ask Homer himself which stories were his, but you'd have a hard time finding him because Homer doesn't exist. This is called
Yeah, I was gonna say.
This is called the Homeric question. Did Homer exist? And although it'll never be truly answered, we're pretty sure the answer's no. And I'm sure there were some scholars out there who raised the question before, but it became largely popularized by a man named Friedrich Wolff in 1795, who published his thesis that if we're all just accepting that Homer lived in like 700 BC, then why does his work contain snippets from bard songs from 10,000 BC? When are we going to accept that the Iliad and the Odyssey are nothing but oral traditions that got mashed together?
Do we really have time to dispute this?
Yes.
Like in the day?
Well, don't worry, because it got done for us. This
Okay.
started a 130-year nerd war until 1928, when Albert Lord and Milman Parry
What'd you do
stepped
with your
in
life?
and published their work. Yeah, no fucking shit. Seriously.
Wait, how long was the debate?
130 years.
People were born and died without it being settled.
That's right. There were generations
People were born,
of men.
jumped in, and didn't see the end of it.
Yeah. That fucking sucks, especially if you were born sometime in the middle, died sometime in the
Yeah,
middle.
that's what I mean,
You're just
man.
like, shit. Like,
It's like I'm assuming that, it is a ridiculous situation where this is just one man's entire lifelong obsession, which I doubt.
it's more than him. I mean, yeah, because he didn't fucking live 130 years. Fuck no.
Yeah.
But he, anyway. So before we get into this whole thing with Albert Lord and Milman Parry, here's the thing about ancient history. There are so many embellishments to what is supposedly quote unquote fact that until we find proof of something actual, it kind of stays mythological.
Wait.
What?
Are you telling me that getting blinded by the sword of a god is outlandish?
I'm just saying daydreaming until blindness hasn't happened to anyone else or since.
Okay, I'm following.
I'm just saying.
All right.
But, for instance, the Iliad means Trojan poem in Greek. It's an account of the Trojan War. We're not even sure a war actually happened in the first place. But there's no factual account of anything related to Troy. All we have is a shitload of stories that have been so exaggerated with poetry that we don't know which parts are bullshit. We know where Troy was, on the western tip of Turkey, but that's about it. We don't know anything about the kingdoms, the dynasties themselves. We have no idea.
We know there weren't any fucking llamas. That movie sucked. Go on.
What
Sorry.
fucking movie was that? What, Troy?
Yeah.
Wasn't that a Ridley Scott movie?
I have no idea.
Was it good?
No, it sucked dick.
Was it homoerotic at least?
Not in that way. No, suck dick is in like it was not enjoyable.
Oh. Well, that's not the same way Now, we did have the opportunity to prove what parts of the Trojan War happened, but because of one man, we never will. His name was Heinrich Schliemann. That's the fakest fucking name I've ever heard. Cop pulls you over. Hey, are you Henry Slyman? No, I'm Heinrich Schliemann. Now, Heinrich was a businessman in the 1800s who was such a fanboy of Homer that he even named one of his sons Agamemnon after one of the characters from the Iliad.
That's so extra. Why the fuck would you give your kid that extra of a name? Like,
Because you're an asshole.
what the hell? Like, you've been to school. You know what it's like.
There are kids out there named Hermione.
I mean, even
And
now,
it's-
if I knew a dude now who was named fucking Agamemnon as a dude in his late 20s, I would still be flipping him like the same shit as if I was a child. Just be like,
I'm sure
"Holy
he's strong.
shit."
I'm sure he's strong as hell because he's been bullied a lot, and I'd still just be like, "Look, man,
Okay, hey,
I know you're gonna kick my
that's-
ass, but
okay.
I need to do this.
Let me
Give me
know.
your
That-
underwear. I'm about to wedge at you."
That is definitely an end of the bell curve there, bud. Okay, that's not always the result.
So now Heinrich, he's not an archaeologist by any means. But luckily for him, most people at this point in history who were quote unquote archaeologists were really just white men with money. So one day he says, "Shit, I have money." And at the time, Turkey was still the Ottoman Empire, and they were in sharp decline of having their shit together because of some, let's call it ethnic issues.
Oh, will you elaborate, please?
A couple of genocides here and there. It was starting some wars. But anyway, that's
too
not what we're here
complicated
for.
to get into for tonight. Okay.
So when Heinrich asked the Ottoman government if he could do a little digging around the site of Troy, they were like, "We're a little busy. Can you not see that we are in the middle of a gunfight?" And when Heinrich got the approval to excavate the site of Troy in 1810, he was coming. I mean, he had carte blanche here. Most archaeologists were fucking around in Egypt at this time. Because let's face it, they were doing their own little gold rush over there because the only thing
They're all sticking out of the fucking ground.
the only thing standing between them and millions of dollars worth in gold was a dead body wrapped in gauze. Like, they didn't care.
And they're marked.
Yeah.
Giant triangles.
I wonder what's under there.
Hey, where's my fortune? Right there.
So
I found this. No one owns this.
this is actually an ecological site for brown countries,
No.
please. So Heinrich
This is
Stess...
going in a museum. I'm gonna put it in a box and ship it fucking everywhere so people can look at it.
You're never gonna get it back. So
That's
Heinrich...
Oh man, is that...
That's an ongoing issue.
That's an ongoing problem.
It
isn't
is.
Yeah.
There are so many countries that want the British Museum just fucking ransacked so that they could have their shit back. And they're just like, look, unfortunately, we're still white and powerful, and it's just not going to happen.
Yeah.
I'm very sorry.
It's just like, watching Indiana Jones and you're older and you're like, homie, they're actively worshiping that.
Top men, it's just going on fucking Etsy. Like, they don't give a shit. Like, so Heinrich steps up to the site of Troy, and I mean, you got to get rid of a few thousand years worth of dirt and grime, right? I mean, excavation is the name of the game, baby. You got to do all this brushing and digging. Or you could do what Heinrich did, say, I'm no pussy, and dynamite the fuck out of the place. He blew up the dig site so deep that he went way past the Hellenistic era he was aiming for, all the way back a few thousand years past where he meant to. And I mean, they still found a shitload of treasure, but it was all from...
He blew up like several... Wait, literally
Yeah.
like several thousand? Or are you exaggerating?
No, several thousand.
And he just...
He was looking specifically
What
for...
the fuck is that? Why the fuck would dynamite possibly be a good idea? What the fuck is that? Who the fuck gave him that?
Again, it was unsupervised. He just had enough money to buy...
Nobody checked that when he put in a gear request?
Who's
why do you
checking?
have dynamite?
Why would somebody check him? They don't give a fuck. Here's the thing. It's in a rural fucking area on the tip of Turkey. They're dealing with civil war. And he's just like, I have enough money for a crate of dynamite. Nobody's out there checking. Honestly, they hear the bomb blast and they're just like, oh, fuck, it's the other guys. Like, they're out to get us. Like, they don't give a shit. But yeah, the thing is he's such a fanboy for specifically Homer's Troy that he got way past it. He didn't give a fuck what history he was blowing
Can you
up.
at least dig sideways now? Like, the only experience I have with this is fucking Minecraft, but...
It was enough dynamite that it's now... I mean, it's gone. It used to be an area, and it's
And
kind
now
of
it is no
not.
longer an area.
It's barely kind of... You can see some ruins, which he created, but, that's kind of it. So, it's... But, I mean, here's the thing. He still found a shitload of treasure this way, but it was all from the wrong era. Heinrich blew up anything of real value to him. Not to say it wasn't still valuable stuff, but it wasn't what Heinrich was specifically looking for.
I feel like that's still not justice enough.
No. Because here's the thing. Luckily, he was never a real archaeologist, so he had no fucking clue it wasn't what he was looking for. All he saw were the dollar
I'm not
signs.
a fucking archaeologist, and I know not to use dynamite.
All he saw were the dollar signs. So he lied to himself and told the public and said, oh, hey, this is Helen of Troy's jewels. And then he dressed his wife up in a bunch of unknown dead people's jewelry and took pictures.
How do you know they're the jewels? How the fuck do you know they're not?
Exactly.
My point exactly.
So anyway, we could have verified certain things about the Trojan War, but fanboy over here went and fucked it all up for forever. It's all gone.
How much fucking dynamite? Isn't it a whole city, right? A whole fucking gigantic walled ass
Yeah, basically.
place.
I mean, but you got to get through all that dirt and grime, so you just got to
Some,
kind of keep going,
Jesus.
I know. It would have been ape shit. But did the Trojan War even happen? Maybe. probably happened, but was much smaller than what we later embellished in stories and was probably over resources than just some chick. Now, as I mentioned before, it was two men named Albert Lord and Milman Parry that changed the way people thought of Homer with a thesis they published in 1928. What they theorized wasn't too different from what Friedrich Wolff stated in 1795, that even if Homer did exist, he's not the creator of these stories we attribute him to. He's just mixing stories up from oral tradition and songs onto paper for the first time. But since 1795, a lot more evidence had come to light with parts of the Iliad showing up way before Homer's time. I mean, honestly, the biggest evidence towards Homer's existence is that the stories even exist in the first place. And up until this point, the argument was just that someone had to have written the stories. In 1960, Albert Lord released The Singer of Tales, bringing with it the theory of oral formulaic composition. Shut up.
No, I'm not. Proceed.
It was something he had worked on with Milman Parry, but since their partnership, Milman had unfortunately passed away. Basically, when you read certain parts of the Iliad, it's kind of got a rhythm to it in its original Greek. Even the oldest known story in the world, the Epic of Gilgamesh, does this.
Is that why it's so fucking boring when you read it in English?
Yeah. I mean, basically, it's a lot easier to memorize a song than it is to recite volumes of a story, and that's how they got passed down. You let it fucking rhyme, you know? Everyone knows, parts of... What? What are you assuming
I don't know. I just looked. There's a little twinkle in your eye.
No, I was just going to say, we all know, green eggs and ham, or one fish, blue fish, two fish, red fish.
All right, cool. I've been wrong before, and that was one of the... Come on.
As a matter of fact, looking at all the different compositions within the Iliad alone, some scholars believe it could be a work compiled from upwards of 16 different people. And no matter how many people wrote the goddamn thing, we still don't know when the fucking thing was written. But we know it wasn't after 630 BC because someone made terracotta fan art of the Iliad from that time, but there's still like a 500-year range there.
Why does the date and the actual creator matter so much at this point?
I'm just giving you info.
I
mean, basically, though, we are solving the issue of the Iliad and the Odyssey both were compiled over millennia. It's not... Homer never existed.
Okay.
Sorry.
Yeah,
But before we get into the details of the Iliad, let's go over a little background into what the Trojan War supposedly was.
Sick.
Now, the events of the Trojan War are not told in one definitive story or book. Many aspects of the same event come from many different sources. And the way things were done back then, it is that if someone else wrote a different point of view of an event, it automatically became canon. What was probably a poem about a short scuffle between two tribes became a piece of Greek mythology over the hundreds of years it took to compile the story.
I don't know if it's a short scuffle between two tribes if there was a city, but at the same time, he was able to blow up the whole city.
We don't know how big it fucking was, because he probably cleared out their farmland, everything.
Yeah.
But basically, it goes like this. Eris is the goddess of chaos, and because she's the goddess of chaos, she's not invited to a wedding between two gods. To prove they were right not to include her, she makes a golden apple, plops it in the middle of the other Greek goddesses, and says, it's for only the fairest of you all.
Nobody likes the edgelord.
And Hera, Athena, and Aphrodite start fighting over the apple. This goes on for a while, and to settle the argument, Zeus sends...
Gods are dumb as shit. This is for only the fairest. Get the fuck out of here, you're a tool. That's all you had to do.
Why do I want this so bad? I don't like fruit. Well, this goes on for a while, and to settle the argument, Zeus sends the three ladies down to Earth to bathe in a brook, setting them up to be discovered by the Prince of Troy, a man named Paris. Well, Paris spots them bathing, and the ladies are like, oh my, you caught us. Say, since you're here,
Why?
Who's the hottest? This is going to solve their issue. Who's the fairest of them all? Really, just, who's the prettiest? And poor Paris can't answer because even though...
It's a bad situation to be in. There isn't an unawkward way to exit that question. You know what I mean?
I don't want to exit the question. I want to enter it 3 different times.
Never mind.
Poor Paris can't answer because...
Get me some god pussy.
Well, even though he doesn't know these are 3 goddesses, they're still as beautiful as 3 goddesses. He can barely see over his boner. So the girls are like, fuck it, what do you want, kid? You want money? I got money. You want some weed? Like, they just start fucking
I'll buy you
bribing him.
beer.
Yeah, they just start fucking bribing this guy. Well, Athena bribes him with the power to be the greatest warrior ever. Aphrodite will give him the most beautiful girl in the world. And Hera will just straight up give him Asia, the entire continent.
The entire I'll give you the entire continent. The continent of what? Never mind. It's a big thing.
You haven't quite... You know Africa? Like,
I don't think you understand how big this gift is.
well, unsurprisingly, Paris goes for a piece of ass. Aphrodite is like, yeah, I'm the fairest. I'm the most girly goddess there ever was. Suck my dick. And Paris is like, well, how about the girl? And Aphrodite is like, all right, well, look, I can get you the girl, but you kinda have to kidnap her a little bit. Her name's Helen of Sparta. So Paris has to go all the way to Sparta and sneak into this palace
I
and
fucking
kidnap
hate
Helen.
That's what he picked.
What, girl? The
Really?
most beautiful girl.
I don't give a shit.
Yeah, it's true. She's, I mean, well,
It's not
anyway.
worth it. That's not better
You know-
than an entire continent or greatest warrior in the greatest warrior in the world.
A billion girls. Right over there. Right, come on, dude.
Fucking Jesus!
So,
How old is he supposed to be?
they don't fucking know. Forget it.
11?
None of these people fucking lived, so forget it.
God.
So, he gets to her palace to kidnap Helen. Helen's in bed, and when she sees Paris climbing her balcony, Aphrodite has Cupid shoot her with an arrow, non-fatal. And of course, she falls in love.
Does he have fatal arrows, or is it just?
You know, I don't... Yes. He's an archer. He has to, right? Right? I don't know.
Like,
I don't know. So, she agrees to run away with Paris all the way back to Troy, and she no longer goes by Helen of Sparta. Instead, she now goes by Helen of Troy. But here's the thing. Helen's fucking married. So as soon as her husband, Menelaus, sees that she's run off to Troy just out of the fucking blue, Menelaus goes on this expedition with his buddy Odysseus. No real plan, just kind of showing up to the gates of Troy like, hey, the fuck's going on? Honey, you want to just come back home now? And when she refused, it was war. 10 years of war between the fortified
unless you're
city
done
of
with
Troy.
that strange penis, it is wartime. Get the fuck in the boat.
It is 10 years of war between the fortified city of Troy and all of Menelaus's allies, calling themselves the Achaeans.
Wait, they brought in allies?
Yeah.
Allies? Did they lie to them about why they were going to war?
They were mostly mercenaries.
This got to be okay.
They were mostly mercenaries.
I know.
Like,
I know.
you're going to
this
need to
isn't-
raise the price. If I'm going to die over your girl cheating on you, that's kind of fucking dumb.
No, I know. Like there had to have been like. I get that this is like myth and everything, and it's based on something that happened. But in reality, there had to have been something much more like. Much
Well,
more
right,
grievous
right.
that went down.
Well, like I was saying, like if there was an
Because
actual...
if that was the reason and someone came to me
No.
and was like, "Hey, will you go die for this?" I'd be like, "Wow, that sucks. I really hope that works out."
So
Like,
let me get
I'm
this
not
straight.
getting involved though. Like,
Yeah, like, okay, so let me get this straight. I'm gonna have to go fight for the girl who clearly doesn't have a moral compass and is deciding to cheat on me. No. Like,
well, no, it's not only
he
that.
he doesn't know that she's enchanted by Cupid or whatever. He doesn't. All he knows is she fucking ran off with some dude. He's just like, are you fucking kidding me? Like, that fucking sucks,
Like,
but like,
oh well, okay. Well, that's where my life's going. Let's move on.
Yeah.
Like,
But no, like I was saying before, though, it's like if there ever was a war, it was probably a scuffle over land or resources.
it's got to be something else.
It's it's
No.
not this. It's
fucking
definitely
way.
not this. Besides, I will tell you now, there are coins printed with what Helen of Troy's face supposedly looked like. I don't know the date of these coins, but they tried to make her look like the most beautiful woman. Boy, let me tell you, the idea of what beauty is has fucking changed.
Well, like, I mean, do they run it like nobles do? Like, because
She looks like sloth, man. I don't know.
Like-
Look, maybe it's just not my thing.
did she look like a noble person?
Yeah, fair, yeah.
She's the hottest out of the bottom of this gene bucket. Like,
That's real fucking sad even then. Like, Jesus. Now, without further ado, let's get into the Iliad. Quote, anger be now your song, immortal one. Achilles' anger, doomed and ruinous. that caused the Achaeans loss on bitter loss, and crowded brave souls into the undergloom, leaving so many dead men. Carry on, for dogs and birds, and the will of Zeus was done.
What?
Don't worry about
Proceed.
it. Our story begins with a prayer to the Greek muses, then launches the reader into the final year of the Trojan War. Remember, it's been 9
years.
Yeah, it's a 10-year war. It's
10-year
been
war,
9 years.
final
Now
year.
we're in the last
Therefore,
one.
7.
Yes.
Wait.
What? No.
Go on.
Huh? Agamemnon, leader of the Achaean army, has kidnapped the daughter of a priest as a war prize during a recent raid. The priest tries to pay Agamemnon for her release. What?
I know we're gonna be doing this all night, but just the casual, like
The misogyny?
like picking him up like a fancy chair, just everywhere. Like just, oh yeah, it's mine now. Like, here, you can just have the best pussy ever. I could just go pick it up. Absolutely.
And is this going to be takeout or pickup? Deliver? Okay.
Wait, I
Yes.
didn't understand it was attached to a person. Shut up. Yes, you did. That's how we do it now.
Well, the priest tries to pay Agamemnon for her release, and while the rest of the Achaeans agree that he should take the ransom, Agamemnon refuses, and the priest's daughter is admittedly prettier than his own wife. So I don't know what the fuss is about.
Yeah, I mean, proceed.
Well, because of his refusal, the priest calls upon Apollo to curse the Achaean army with the plague. But Agamemnon is persistent and doesn't release the girl for 9 days while his men die around him. Finally, he sends one of his best men, Odysseus, to return her. But Agamemnon is still pissed that everyone else gets a sex slave and not him. So he orders Achilles, captain of a mercenary army he's allied with, to give him his, and Achilles is furious. When Agamemnon...
Okay.
What?
That's how we're saying it. All right. Go on.
When Agamemnon asked for help in sacking Troy, Achilles was one of the first to show up, bringing with him 500 men. But now that his sex slave was just taken from him, Achilles says, "Fuck you," and leaves the camp with his army. Literally, it's in there. It's the first fuck you ever recorded.
Sick.
No, it's not.
Well, yeah, but I mean, I would have just gone on. You know,
I should just
convincing
lie to you
myself-
more, honestly.
You should. I mean, I feel like it would have gone with that one, but think about how bad you can fuck me up and how funny it'd be. That's what I'd be doing if I were you, and I hope you're as bad of a friend as I am, because it'll be really funny.
I'd never do that to you.
Yes, you would. Shut up. Oh, brother.
And I mean, Achilles, though, is really pissed. He goes back to his warships, and when his best soldiers, Patroclus, asks if they're leaving, he's like, no, not yet. Instead, he asks his mom to ask Zeus for a favor, since Zeus is sweet on his mom. What he wants is for Zeus to make the Achaeans come close to losing, just to really make the motherfucker sweat, so Agamemnon will know he needs Achilles' help. So Zeus sends Agamemnon a dream that night.
I don't know, man. I feel like that might have just been your mom's idea.
you
Hey, will
telling
you
me-
go suck off Zeus for advice? Absolutely.
Anything
I'll get
for
back
you,
to
son.
you on that.
You won't believe how they're treating my boy.
Okay, Zeus said.
So Zeus sends Agamemnon a dream that night, like, attack Troy. And of course, when he wakes up, he thinks it's a brilliant fucking idea, so he decides to do it. But first, he wants to check his boy's morale, you know? Do a little reverse psychology on him and get him all pumped up. So
How's
he
it going,
says,
guys? We've been here for 9 fucking years. Excellent. Let's go.
Wouldn't it be tragic if there were a war going on right now that we've been stuck there for 10 years?
I don't think these guys get leave, to be fair. Like,
Well, neither
Like, I
did
know-
you.
I
You
know-
signed a contract for
I know
free
you're going out,
tuition
and then you
a
come back,
charger.
and then you go back out, and then you come back, and then you go back out, and then you come back, but I don't think they've been camped for the whole fucking time.
So when he tells everyone, like, let's just go home, instead of psyching them up, his guys are like, fuck, man, he's right. Dude, we're not cut out for this. And they just start to fucking leave. But luckily, Odysseus comes back just in time from delivering the priest his daughter to see everyone packing up their shit. And he's like, well, wait a fucking minute. And he gives a speech that convinces everyone to stay. So the Achaeans march to Troy, where the Trojan warriors are out to meet them. Now, nobody wants to fight in any more hapless bloodshed. I mean, it's been 10 fucking years since all this shit started.
9.
So,
Wait, are we at 10 now?
I mean, it's the last year.
Okay.
Whatever.
Yeah.
So Paris of Troy shows up, knowing that all this shit is just over Helen, and challenges Helen's husband, Menelaus, to a fight to the death. Whoever wins,
Dude,
keeps her.
bit fucking late, bud. Like, just fucking finish it off at this point. What are you fucking doing? 9 years is not the
Can
point
you imagine? It's like, yeah, it's 10 years. Let's say Menelaus wins, and like she comes out,
Like,
and
the
he's
deaths
just
have
like,
happened,
he's
dude.
just
Finish
like,
it. Like,
you did not age well. That is, whoo, boy, your crow's feet got large.
oh
Those
wow,
things
you
have
look like you've been under
talons.
siege for 9 years.
You seem your hair got grayer. That's a new body roll I'm seeing, isn't it? That's nice. Yeah, it's nice. So no other man need die with this shit, right? With this one-on-one battle. And Menelaus agrees. And pretty quickly, Paris gets his fucking ass hammered. And just before the killing blow, Aphrodite spirits Paris away, back to the safety of Troy. So Menelaus wins. Everyone's good with it. The end. However, Zeus makes one of the Trojans shoot his arrow at Menelaus, wounding him. Because of this, it's all-out war again. One of the Achaeans, Diomedes...
Yeah, don't be a bitch about it. Like,
What?
oh, what? You lost. Don't be a little.
Right. Well, what would you do if you won? Somebody then like just fucking gadded you in the leg.
Fucking all right, game on then.
Well, right. That's what they're doing.
Exactly. Like,
So this one of the Achaeans, Diomedes, he just fucking unleashes. He's out there snapping backs like Bane, just spreading them cheeks like a bag of potato chips. And Diomedes is in such a rage boner that Aphrodite is out there just picking up the wounded to take him back to Troy, and Diomedes accidentally attacks her. Apollo shows up like, yeah, the gods are off limits. But homeboy don't give a shit. He sees Ares, the god of war, hanging out because, there's a fucking war going
it's a
on.
big old war. It's kind of his
Literally just doing his job. And Diomedes attacks and manages to wound Ares. He actually manages to throw his fucking spear in Ares' gut. And with this, Ares leaves. He's out. And that man was Kratos. No.
That guy's awesome.
Yeah. And shit goes on for a while. While Zeus doesn't really want the gods getting involved, they still do whatever they want. It's kind of like a food fight for the gods who are just like throwing humans at each other like they're meatloaf. And while all this is going on, Agamemnon is like, man, I really fucked up. I think I need Achilles' help. So Agamemnon sends Odysseus and some other guys out to find Achilles. Right, he's out down by the fucking boats and shit, just like, they're gonna want me. And luckily find out he never left shore. He's just been waiting with his naval fleet like, I knew you'd come crawling back. So Odysseus gets there like, hey Achilles, Agamemnon says you can have your sex slave back and some treasure. And he's sorry. He says you're cool now. Do you want to go fight or something? Just, check yes or no. And Achilles checks that no box so fucking hard his Lisa Frank pencil pokes through the paper. He's like, unless my fleet comes under attack, go fuck yourself. But while Odysseus goes sauntering back to the battle, Patroclus, Achilles' best soldier if you'll remember, gets a little anxious. He's definitely more of a humanitarian than Achilles is. So when Patroclus asks Achilles if he can go help just a little bit, Achilles is like, all right, here, you can borrow my armor and take some men. Go play a little. Well, Patroclus goes out into the battlefield only to be met by a big fucking Trojan
Big fucking dude.
named Hector.
Straight up.
Yeah. His name's fucking Hector.
That's a little out of left field.
Right? Jesus, no! It's just weird. Not much of a standoff happens before Patroclus is just instantly butchered. And Achilles just can't understand how this can happen. Just really beside himself
Maybe
with
it's because
grief.
he's wearing your armor, bud.
Well, we'll get to that a little bit. But basically, after making Patroclus an empty vessel, Hector sees this amazing fucking armor he's wearing. And so he steals it and sports it around a little bit, just strutting up there on the Trojan wall. And I can just imagine with Hector being this fucking giant that the armor fits him like a fucking crop top. So Achilles sees Hector up on the wall wearing his armor, right? Just being a big old fancy boy up there. And when Achilles goes whipping out onto the battlefield to claim Patroclus' body, he's in such a fucking rage that the battlefield just kind of like moves around him, And the Trojans in the city are like, Hector, buddy, get the fuck off the wall. He's gonna see you. And Hector doesn't give a shit. He's like, no, I got this.
He's like, no, I got like 80 pounds on me. I'm not worried about it. Like,
what are you trying to do, Achilles? You trying to catch these hands? And Achilles gets back to his camp with Patroclus' body, and at this point, even though Zeus has told all the other gods not to interfere, they just keep going at it. Because they're gods, and fuck you, right? There's just too many for Zeus to stop. So he says, fuck it. Gives them the freedom to do what they want, like they weren't doing it anyway. So Hephaestus, the blacksmith of the gods, he makes Achilles new armor, as well as a totally bitchin' shield. Who you got, Ryan, in this fight?
I don't fucking know, man.
You never studied the fucking Trojan War?
No, I never studied why would I study the Trojan War? Why?
It's just somehow one of those avenues that you're looking on Wikipedia late at night that somehow turned into 9/11 videos on YouTube.
Oh my god.
It just happens. Well, Agamemnon sees Achilles coming back to the Achaean camp with his men, and he's like, buddy, you made it! Here's your sex slave back, and here's your gold. Achilles is just like, I'm not even doing it for the prizes. I'm doing it for my BFF Patroclus. And by the way, I know it's always joked about how much the ancient Greeks were into butt stuff, but Achilles and Patroclus were for sure doing butt stuff. So when Achilles hops in a chariot and rides that motherfucker into battle, he just fucking decimates the Trojans. He runs a good chunk of them into the river and just slaughters everyone. The river itself is so gunked up with dead bodies that the river rises up to tell Achilles to knock it off. And Achilles is just rage crying like, you stay out of this! And so the river just backs the fuck down.
Oh, so he made a dead body dam is the translation.
Yeah,
the
basically.
non-bullshit translation of that.
Which, I mean, a lot of people, like, just see rivers as, like, creaks and shit
sure
like that. But it's like,
and somebody wasn't just near you, like, homie, we drink from that. Like,
hey, stop!
dude!
So, Achilles is so terrifying that the Trojans just all run back into the city, all except for Hector.
Really? Nobody can just get him with a fucking arrow or something? Like,
no, because none of this happened.
Okay.
And so everyone runs back. Everyone except Hector, and everyone is yet again like, Hector, get the fuck inside. And of course, Big Boy is like, nah, I got this. But Hector did not have that shit. Achilles stabs Hector through the throat with his spear and drags his dead body behind his chariot all the way back to the Achaean camp. That night, Achilles hosts a party with Hector's corpse as the guest of honor. And everyone played games and laughed and danced. But Achilles has a dream that night, and in it, he's visited by Patroclus' ghost, who's just like, maybe you should give him back the body. What you're doing is kind of fucked up.
He just like grabs the jaw, like, maybe you should give him back the body.
No, for real. They're like fucking playing basketball out on a court with Hector's body. Like, they're doing shit with his corpse. Just like, woo!
Just being disrespectful as fuck. Like,
yeah, it's a weekend at Boners.
Good one, bud. That was the best way you could add a little slip.
Oh, man. I gotta talk to my psychologist. It's like weekend at
No, you don't,
Bernie's.
Brother. Just talk to me. We got 2 more days.
It's like weekend at Bernie's, except everyone's in on it. Like, everyone knows it's a dead body. They're still just making him, like, nod his head and shit. Like, blood spurting out the fucking spear hole. Just like, hey, buddy, you like the party? Like,
serving him food and stuff. Like, are you not hungry? Like,
fucking, everyone's, like, fucking putting pot in his fucking throat wound and, like, doing mouth to mouth, just lighting him up. Just...
God, dude. Well, shouldn't have worn the armor.
So Zeus, yeah, I mean, well, it was more about friendship.
Okay. Friendship.
Call me Patroclus, daddy.
Brother.
And Zeus is actually kind of disgusted by how Achilles is acting with the fucking body and shit, doing a whole thing with his carcass. So he has Hermes, messenger of the gods, drive a wagon with...
Look, I may be a furry, but this is disgusting.
Fuck, he is.
Yeah, dude. That's 100%.
So he has fucking God damn it.
What you got?
He has Hermes, messenger of the gods, drive a wagon with Hector's dad in it to the Achaean camp unnoticed in the dead of night. And once they get to Achilles' tent, Hector's dad begs Achilles for his son's dead body back. Achilles relents. Hector's body returns to Troy.
he shows
Iliad-
up. He's just all dressed up. Like
Yeah, he's just got fucking makeup on and shit.
they're like, yeah, you're gonna have to deal with all that though.
And with that, the Iliad ends with the city of Troy mourning Hector's death. Now, while the Iliad takes place in the final year of the Trojan War, it goes on for a few more weeks, I believe, after the Iliad ends. But we won't discuss what isn't relevant to the story. Now, personally, I think the Iliad is a tad dry, even for ancient Grecian stories. The tale is written from the perspective of a historian, which Homer was kind of trying to be. Whenever there's a battle, it's an unending list of so-and-so, son of what's-his-name, that built the town of whatchamacallit, wielded a shield, but was cast down by that guy, son of the other guy, who was the town drunk, and the dark veil shielded his eyes.
Yeah, the story sucked back then.
Yeah. It'll go on for pages trying to give some realistic basis of who was there and who that guy who just got killed's hometown was. It reads like a literal list. And remember, this story is supposed to have come out some 500 years after the Trojan War supposedly ended. Nobody reading it would have been like, oh yeah, Jeremy of Fresno. I used to smoke cardamom with that guy. Like, it was just fucking lost on him. But fuck it. This is a classic. Also, the fucking repetition, the dark shaded his eyes, was said every fucking time someone died. So to have it in a war novel was a bit much. Was Homer trying to hit a word count? For fuck's sake. Also, it's featured much...
Well, it probably sounds better in Greek, right? Like it probably like rolled well or like rhymed well or something.
Sure,
like, I don't
it's
know,
a rhyme, but it's still just like, you know, it's the equivalent of just going, ass, 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 ass. It's still shitty. Like, you know?
There's nothing shitty about that.
I was quick to come up with something. I'm sorry.
How dare you? That is poetry.
He blew his dick like a cello. How about that? That was a good one. Yeah.
Wonderful.
So,
sorry, did I?
No, it's just that I've read this so many times that it's become debilitating, this phrase. But so this is featured much more heavily in the Odyssey, but the wine dark sea. That was Homer's way of describing anything larger than a puddle, it seems, but he called it that because the word blue hadn't been invented yet. So,
wait, what?
Yeah, blue, that wasn't always
They
a
didn't
word.
have a fucking word for blue?
No. So it was usually just something that was wine colored.
Huh, okay.
Yeah. He called it blue because... he called it the wine dark sea because that was the best he could do, essentially. I mean, it's filthy water. What are you going to do?
Yeah.
I guess it's kind of reddish.
Some musky-ass water.
Yeah. Either way, it's fucking repetitive. I know I shouldn't critique ancient classics because that's dumb, but it won't stop me from being annoyed anyway.
Yeah, I was going to say.
You know, I was going to tell you to fuck yourself.
I was going to say, Jordan, you know how you're fat? You're also being dumb right now.
I will fucking body slam your pelvis so hard.
Not if I can run for you for more than 15 seconds.
Oh, damn it! Stairs! Now, there's a lot of themes to the Iliad because it's classical poetry and everything has to mean something. But to me, the three most prevalent are themes of fate, glory, and because of those first two, hubris. Now, every sumbitch fighting in this book is related to the gods in one way or another. And because the gods have always only looked out for number one, they're constantly asking the fates what to expect for themselves. The fates usually give like 90% of an answer, and the rest you just gotta take a wild stab at. And because this is war...
Because otherwise you'd be able to call them out for bullshitting.
Yeah, basically.
Yes.
And his wife's eyes are green! They're brown. They used to be green!
Let's go see the tent of bullshit artists.
Yeah. And, I mean, basically because this is war, though, there's constant questioning by the characters if this is it for them. In Greek mythology, there are very few times, if any, that anyone avoids their actual fate, but everyone still tries. Fate is loosely tied around honor in the Iliad. For instance, when Patroclus is squaring off against Hector, Hector says that Patroclus is a coward for coming after him instead of having an honest death on the battlefield. Because if you fight Hector, death is a sure thing, but Patroclus suggests that perhaps he was always meant to die by Hector's hand, because it's a well-known prophecy to those in the story that soon after Achilles kills Hector, Achilles himself will die. Maybe Achilles fighting for his dead friend was what's needed to push the prophecy forward. And that prophecy is a huge part of why Hector's pissed off all the time. Everyone knows about the prophecy. Achilles will kill Hector and then he will die soon after.
Why is this all like common knowledge? This is
Rumor
really
gets
annoying
around.
part of their society.
I just imagine the three fates up there just fucking shouting off the rooftops with their sea-colored wine, just he's gonna get shot in the ass. Like,
Yeah, that makes sense. Therefore, their wine was sea colored, which is that strange dusty green.
and Achilles is actually kind of famous just because of the prophecy itself. Before he even really does anything, everyone just knows him from prophecy. So it's like, you know,
Oh, yeah,
that kid.
I'm the guy who dies after he kills Hector. Shut up.
Yeah.
Okay.
And everyone's always asking, wow.
I'm here to buy a sandwich. Please.
Everyone's always asking, wow, I wonder how Achilles is gonna die. But Hector's a fucking footnote. All Hector's known for his entire life is being the guy Achilles is gonna fucking murder someday. So he wants to fight Achilles mano a mano because maybe he can change his fate. And I do like this whole thing, though, of how everyone is tied to a god somehow. Like, oh, you know, my father, well, he was Ares or whatever, you know. And it's like, okay, I get it. Y'all live in squalor and you don't know who your dad is. It doesn't mean that your dad was a god. Like, I understand that your mom got drunk one night. And,
I really
and
wish it worked that way. I do.
Yeah, you would just be growing up being like, my father is Ricky Martin.
Fuck you.
When you were a kid,
I know who my dad is, Dick.
I mean, when you were a kid, everyone knew Ricky Martin was gay, but he didn't come out yet. So you're just like, no, he's heterosexual. My mother says so. But I do like that, like, you know, there's this whole thing of like, everyone knows that like Zeus fucks people as animals.
Yeah.
It's weird how prevalent bestiality was, though.
Well,
They're
I
just
mean,
like, must have been Zeus, and it's like, no, you got fucked by a dog.
Look, I get the look. Now, I'm not saying I would do it if I had those powers, but I am saying, like, I understand that, like, hey, I'm a bull. I got a bull dick. That's kind of cool. But when we get into swans, that's a little. I'm not even getting where you like enter into that.
Well, I could tell you where you enter into
Like,
it.
do they do the corkscrew thing like ducks do?
I was actually just going to bring that up. I don't know, and I can see why he would go for being a geese if they do. If you got a corkscrew dick, fuck it. Maybe try it out. I don't know. It's weird, but go for it.
I don't think I would. I think I would stick with, big dicked animals. Don't you want to try having a big dick at least once? Like, no. The swan's madness because it's like you're gonna look down and be like, no, I want it to look even weirder this time.
Look, you've been around for hundreds of years.
I don't
Maybe
understand
you're around for
the
centuries,
steps
and you're
here.
like, look, I'm already. You'd think Zeus isn't swinging. You think he doesn't have a huge?
Well, no, it's stated
dick?
that he's. Well, he's not. No. Oh, swinging like that.
No.
I thought you
Yeah,
meant-
not,
yeah.
no, not the libertine type thing, but I mean,
Don't
like,
sully the local swingers with that name.
nothing but a bunch of libertines. They're just
Greasy
like,
bastards.
what the fuck are you talking? What? No, I just, hey, I'm just gonna say it for the record. I think Zeus probably had a really big dick. Why wouldn't he?
I mean, why was he changing all the time into different animals with
He
different
got
dicks?
bored of human.
If you
dick
had a
play.
big, nice dick, you wouldn't bother changing.
Now that's the real question: which animal has the best orgasm? Everyone's always talking about men and women. Like, who's got it best?
Isn't the only animal that likes busting aside from us like dolphins and shit, or maybe that
Fuck.
one monkey there's a video of jacking himself off with a frog?
Man, those monkeys really know what's up.
It's like, oh god, that was some early.
I don't
YouTube
know. You know,
just
that's
disaster.
that's a good point, though. Yeah, no, man, I don't want to know what.
You don't wanna
I'm
know
sure that
what?
we could go on YouTube right
There's
now,
probably
look
a
up
list of
dolphin
animals that
orgasm,
also
and we'll
enjoys
hear it. Just like,
No, no sound. It's worse that way.
it's just gonna sound like fucking SpongeBob laughing on
It's like,
it.
oh no, you thought there'd be like a funny noise here to kind of like help smooth this over. No, it's just gonna be something you
They
didn't.
do those
want.
fucking tortoise grunts. Just. Ugh.
Those are fantastic.
Look, man, we're almost fucking done here, so let's just.
Enough about animal
Look.
dicks.
The theme of glory isn't something we should have to delve into too much for the Iliad, because it goes without saying that people in ancient times didn't have a whole lot to live for. Glory can be seen here as another word for fame. You weren't the shit unless You had a theme song written about you or a piece of pottery made with your face on it. When Agamemnon took Achilles' sex slave away, he wasn't mad because he was down a concubine. He was mad because that shit was straight disrespectful, son. It was Agamemnon's way of showing he was top dog because he had more renown than Achilles did. I mean, remember, the Trojan War goes on for 10 years. Whoever comes out of this alive is going to be a fucking hero. And like I mentioned before, fate and glory fall straight into hubris. Why wouldn't Agamemnon ask Achilles for help? Hubris. Why wouldn't Achilles help? Hubris. Why does Caleb think shirts with cut off sleeves look cool? Hubris.
That's mostly just alcohol.
My arms get sweaty.
Impaired judgment.
I don't start out that way. I get so mad at my sleeves, I rip them off.
No, I was I went to the bar to meet up with buddies for the first time in fucking forever. And then, rolled in, of course.
I hope you enjoyed it, because that's going away again.
Totally. Yeah, everyone stop doing that. I don't care what they're saying. Just stop doing that. It's not a good idea.
It didn't help, it turned out.
I rolled into a bar with my girlfriend, and she was just like, yeah, no, the cut-off sleeve band shirt is very 2010. And I was just like, yeah.
Oh,
I was like,
shit.
I was like, no, it's all in good fun. I was just like, yeah, no, that's about when I checked out. I was like, no, that's lining up.
Fuck. Man, that hurts.
If you'll note, I'm here with a long sleeve.
Yeah, I noticed.
Cargo pants, but
when has that ever changed?
And I don't know what to wear except for skate shoes.
Yeah, one thing the metal scene is very well known for. It's for cargo pants. I gotta hold all my maul knives.
Ninja stars in the left pocket.
Well, anyway, that's it for the Iliad, and because Homer doesn't exist, we have nowhere to go in his life besides on to the next story. So next episode, we're just going to jump right into Homer's second book, The Odyssey. For now, I'd like to say that my sources are the Iliad, attributed to Homer, translated by Robert Fitzgerald, Everyman's Library, 1992, and Wikipedia. Also, yeah.
Nice, brother.
It wasn't going to stay in.
Well,
fuck.
I mean, they rarely do.
I couldn't have made it quiet. That was what I mean.
You could have.
It was fighting.
No, you could have done the. You could have put your arm up to your mouth or something. There were a lot of things you could have done to make it less.
And lose all those calories.
You're trying to suck them back in there in your mouth.
Those are nutrients.
Each burp, you're grasping at it, trying to.
My hair.
You're burping and then blowing it back into your face.
I belched into the fan. I just got to say, so we're back for our second season. I just started research on the finale. Man, it's fucking taking some time.
Yeah.
Hopefully we got plenty of time to fucking work on before that ends up being an issue.
Well, yeah, I mean, it's not like we have a lot to do.
Well,
or anywhere to go. Right
yeah,
now.
true.
Again,
I mean, sorry, this isn't my podcast. When we started, Caleb Can't Read, I was actually working on the 13th episode. So now that I'm here and I'm oh no, I'm only 9 episodes ahead. Fuck. 9 authors. Some of these are going to be 2-parters and shit, but it's that's several. I should be fine.
Yeah. I mean, I'll just sound like one continuous beep tone to me when you were speaking, but yeah.
Yeah,
move on.
I really should just put you into a fucking track onto the machine here and just weird, belch, fart, butt joke. No. But
you're gay.
Well, no better time to say it than the ancient Grecian episode.
Yeah.
But I gotta say, follow us on Twitter. You can hear our podcast.
Why are you struggling with this so hard?
I don't have it written down. You can listen to us on Apple Podcasts, Stitcher, Spotify, or wherever you listen to podcasts, except for a handful.
We're on all the social media things, and you can look at our podcast wherever the fuck there's podcasts. Pretty much. Did we miss any? We're on everything, right?
Dude, there's 12 different stations, basically. I didn't bother with
we're
all
on,
of them.
a whole fuck ton of them.
I put 5 of them. I was that's good enough. But hey, you know what? Fuck you. Specifically, I'm looking at Caleb, not you, listener. And listener, thank you for listening. I hope everything's being great in Hoff, Ohio. and you know,
Okay, I'm just
support
gonna
your
go
local
ahead and
sex
just
worker.
like